offer their respects was Lieutenant Colonel Mikey Hardman. He was the founder and former commander of the Marksmanship and Sharpshooting School of the IDF. He told us that only a select few of all the soldiers advanced to this special training. He also said that Max earned the highest scores and honors in his class. He told us he was the first non-Russian soldier in 14 years to achieve this recognition. Our family didn't have the heart to break the news to the colonel that Max's grandparents were descendants of Russia. Max earned a trip in April of 2014. He took advantage of his homecoming and enjoyed a wonderful family winter vacation in Mammoth. He immediately recognized the growth and maturity Max was gaining from his experience while serving. Our lasting memory will be there with Max, all of us at peace, happy to be together, a family. Max then returned to fulfill his final months of service on the Syrian border when the war broke out in Gaza. His unit was repositioned outside Gaza, awaiting instruction for ground troops to move in. Separation from Los Angeles and the Army regimentation were very helpful for Max. It enabled him to mature and grow as a person. It provided him with new skills, and it gave him the personal time to regain his appreciation for family. He called us nearly every day while serving. On Saturday, July 19th at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we got a call from Max saying that they were actually in formation heading into Gaza when his armored personnel carrier, they call it an APC, that he was riding in had collided with another APC. There were injuries, and along with other soldiers, his unit were administered medical treatment. He told us that some of the soldiers had broken bones, but he had just a sore back, and that he was going to go back in. He said he needed to return to action to be with his friends. During that final conversation, Evie told Max that her biggest fear was that he may be captured. Max told her that won't happen. And he said if it did happen, we have a pact. The soldiers and I, we have a pact. And we've agreed that we would sooner shoot ourselves versus give Hamas the opportunity to take him captive. Max told Evie that he was not afraid for himself, but rather he was afraid for her. As Max did at the end of every conversation, he told us he loved us, and we told him we loved him too. This time, we selfishly asked Max not to be a hero. He said, we know that you'll put your safety above your fellow soldiers. We knew this, and we asked him, please, don't be a hero. But of course, that's not Max, and we knew that, and we wished him a safe return.
On Sunday at approximately 7:30 a.m., July 20th, 3 wonderful, respectful, and kind representatives of the Israeli Consul of Los Angeles arrived at our home. They shared the horrific news that Max was killed during his mission into Gaza. They embraced us and provided us with as much comfort as was humanly possible under the circumstances. We initially said that we wanted to bring our son back home to Los Angeles. But after further thought, we came to realize that was our selfishness. Max needed to remain there. No longer the lone soldier, forever at his home, Israel. We concluded that the Israeli people would honor him for his service, his sacrifice, and provide him with the lasting respect he deserves. That evening, Max's friends spearheaded a vigil at Lazy J Park in West Hills. It was attended by hundreds of friends and neighbors. There were many men that served in the Golani Unit 13 that came that night to show their support. It was heartwarming and gave us the strength to catch the plane the next day to Israel. As you all know from watching the news, reading the papers, and the social media, Max was honored by being buried in the presence of over 30,000 mourners at Mount Herzl in Jerusalem, the only exclusive military cemetery in the state of Israel, equal to our Arlington. Max is resting in peace with Theodore Herzl, Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, Prime Minister Golda Meir, and tens of thousands of heroic soldiers that defended the formation and ongoing existence of the State of Israel.
We learned of the battle story that took Max's life, receiving preliminary accounts by the IDF and from soldiers off the battlefield. the day before we returned back to Los Angeles from Israel, Max's last commander, his name was Ohad, he requested we visit with him at the hospital where he was recuperating from gunfire wounds. Ohad told us that their Golani Brigade entered Gaza with their mission to flush out tunnels. While en route, the armored personal carrier that he, Max, and 7 other soldiers were riding in was ambushed. Prior to the ambush, the commander and 1 other soldier responsible for communications exited the vehicle to converse with another commander. It was at this time that Hamas had ambushed them. The APC that Max and 6 other soldiers were in was struck by a missile. All 7 soldiers perished in the explosion. The commander was subsequently struck by bullets, while the communications soldier, thank God, was unharmed. The commander was helicoptered out to safety. We believe, we know, Max and his fellow soldiers did not die in vain. The IDF subsequently discovered the tunnel that the Hamas terrorists had exited to ambush the brigade. The tunnel was destroyed, and it was determined that by doing so, hundreds of Israeli lives will be saved. The IDF had collected all of Max's personal belongings and brought them to the hotel we were staying at. When we were going through some of the belongings, some of the items that he kept, we came across a letter that Max wrote to me, that I wrote to Max, just prior to his boarding the plane on his first return trip to Israel. So again, this was, June of 2012.